Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Thunderstorm. This time around, we're going to be taking a look at some things that we may like, but you might not. That's right, we're talking about guilty pleasures. I'm Rin, and with me this time is Sliv,
Heyo.
the Pork Chopper,
Hello.
and Kaznarius.
Go, big go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get right into it.
So guilty pleasures. Man, let me tell you, I'm a bit of a glutton for I guess games that everyone kind of fucking around me hates. I was a Skylanders kid in high school. Half my friend group liked me, and half my friend group disowned me.
Understandable.
I really liked that fucking game. I really thought that the thought process of taking a character in one game and then being able to put a save file on a statue and then move to any other console and play that game with that save file was really cool. And you know what? I had fun with Skylanders. I did. Oh, fuck you guys. I'm not. Yeah, it's bad. Obviously, it's bad. There's a fucking reason you don't see that shit anymore. But I liked it. Fuck you. This is what the Guilty Pleasures podcast is all about. So, Rin, what is your guilty pleasure? I'm sure you've got something.
I was gonna make an addition to your point.
Yeah, so was I. You're bitching at two people who also technically went ham on Toys to Life.
For real.
For real, though.
I mean,
it
we
was,
got...
It was Amiibos with me.
Fair enough.
And I got
yeah.
into Amiibos as well.
Okay.
There was a time period there for a hot minute where it felt like every company was trying to get in on the Skylanders hype.
Yeah.
And like, because it had done so well, even though the games weren't really great, the figures were doing gangbusters until eventually there were just too many and no one was keeping up anymore.
Some of them were relatively nice. The Spyros, obviously the Spyros. You know, say what you will about the redesign, but there was a bit of detail to those figures. I remember not just playing Skylanders on Wii, but playing Skylanders on the fucking 3DS, and then going over to my girlfriend at the time's house and playing Skylanders on the Xbox. I have nothing else to add to that other than that person now draws furry artwork. And, you know, that was actually a really bad time in my life. But that's irrelevant to Skylanders, I'm sure. Fuck. Hopefully. Yeah, I mean... And obviously Amiibos, they've never had, like, that level of, you know, functionality in one game, much to my dismay, because I really like the idea of that, but, you know, they're alright. They're kind of nice to look at. I just wish that, you know, I had something to do with them other than, like, you know,
Stare at them.
And yeah, it's like, great, I can pull one off the shelf and give myself a new item once a day in Breath of the Wild. Or actually, they're doing the same thing in the new Monster Hunter game too. It's like, yeah, scan 3 amiibos and you get 3 draws at like the daily lottery. It's like, great.
Hey,
Like,
you know what's really weird? How Mario Maker 2 and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe don't use any of the amiibo functionality that their predecessors used.
That is weird.
Because like,
Yeah,
I agree.
Like, how much effort would it take to port over those Mii costumes? Right?
I can't think it's that much.
And like, they already had
They've
all
already
the
got the
Mario
sprites.
sprites.
Yeah.
In Mario Maker. It didn't make sense that they kind of cut that from the game.
It's not like people would stop having like those physical things anymore.
From what I understand, while we're on the topic of Toys to Life, LEGO Dimensions is the only one that really took advantage of what a Toys to Life figure is as a concept.
I could see that.
And I think, ironically, that one was the one that failed the hardest.
I know,
Yeah.
It was kind of weird. I didn't like the idea at the time. But in retrospect, it probably would have done the best had it come out sooner.
years after Lego Dimensions failed, I watched a video online of all the conversations that GLaDOS has with different characters. Just like it just creates this absolute bizarro situation where GLaDOS is dissing Marty McFly for his jacket or something. Like the actual like amount of properties you had to work with for Legos was really fun and was really cool to like have all these what if scenarios of these what if characters. Like I remember what with the Sonic one, you'd like play a weird Sonic level or some shit. That's really cool, but evidently I guess it didn't really work out. And in hindsight, maybe selling Lego of Marty McFly to fucking 5-year-olds who don't watch Back to the Future isn't really the most like marketable position to be in.
It's not necessarily that. I think it was the fact that the market for Toys to Life was oversaturated at that point.
Yeah, that's
because
true.
Already you were like 5 or 6 Skylanders games in. You had Lego Dimensions. You were on like version 3 of Disney Infinity, and you had Amiibos.
Yeah, and yeah. I was gonna say Disney Infinity. Oh.
I can still, to this day, go to the dollar store and buy Disney Infinity figures, and they're right next to the Yokai Watch plushes. It's a little bit more disappointing for one than the other in some retrospect. It's just wild that Disney, and like a Disney Toys to Life game, failed that hard that you can't even get rid of them for $1.
I suppose it's a similar situation in that with that one particular game store where we get Rin all those copies of NHL 11 every single year. I'll walk in there and I'll just see a sad little sea of all these fucking Disney figures and Skylanders and all that bullshit.
Man, NHL 11, now that's a guilty pleasure.
Yeah, well, it's not really a guilty pleasure if everyone on Earth loves it, Rin.
Right. What was I thinking?
Both the process of getting and giving and receiving NHL 11 is quite the joy to behold. Trust me.
Yeah, who doesn't like Chell? Let's be real here.
Mind you, I've only been on the giving end of that, but I'm sure the receiving end would be wonderful.
Ah, yes. You want to find out? I can potentially.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Toys to Life.
Yeah, we kind of went on a little bit of a tangent, but Toys to Life are a guilty pleasure. Absolutely.
Yeah, certainly.
You know what? Since we're talking about our little local game store there, you know what a real guilty pleasure is? Imagine this. The year is 2000X, and Slibs escaped his house and went to the local game store. Buys a Sega Genesis for $20.
Oh, fuck you.
And his copy of Shaq
Fuck
Fu
off.
for $2. Shaq Fu's a good game, damn it.
Oh
Nobody
my
can
God.
tell me otherwise.
Bless your heart for believing that, but you're wrong.
No.
Yeah. I can't. My morals and my identity as a human being absolutely. I disagree with you on every fiber of my essence.
Yeah, but Kaz,
fuck you,
Even
Sliv.
Shaq said it fucking sucked.
Yeah, but like, there's a second one. So it was popular enough to get a sequel 20 years later.
Yeah, well, you know what? Fucking Bubsy 3D was popular enough to get a sequel like 20 years later. That doesn't mean that it was a fucking cult classic.
I actually don't mind the first 2 Bubsy games.
Look,
I wouldn't call them a guilty pleasure. I don't think they're as bad as people rag on them for.
I don't know enough. As far as I know, they're like what? Just side-scrolling platformers.
Yeah, they're side-scrolling platformers. They're a little bit slippery and probably way too zoomed in, and Bubsy 2 is just an acid trip, but they're perfectly fine. I don't think there's anything that would make me say, yes, this is one of the worst games of all time, like a lot of people do.
Mm-hmm.
There are definitely far worse things that came out that generation than Bubsy.
Pork Chopper, give me a guilty pleasure, bro.
All right. So a lot of people fucking shat on the Alone in the Dark reboot on the 360 and the PS3.
I heard literally no good things about that game, other than it came with like a free shirt.
All right, so the game has a lot of problems, and I can see why people hate it. And I don't think it's good, but I actually had a pretty decent time playing it because it had a lot of really cool ideas. It had like the sort of inventory system where in your jacket you've got like all these loops and pockets, and like let's say you've got like your pistol and you've got like a flashlight and tape. You can literally tape the flashlight to your gun, and you can like mix and match items like that. It's really cool.
Yeah, that's
Um,
neat.
yeah, and like it had realistic fire propagation that would actually burn stuff. I don't know. It was cool. The story was I mean, let's not even talk about it. It's just bad. But like it was, I don't know, it was fun in like a horrible kind of way, but I enjoyed
The
it.
first thing, the first bit of gameplay I saw of that game was when he wakes up and I think he realizes he's super old or some shit. But more importantly, he like wakes up and his fucking you're in first person for fuck knows why.
Yeah.
And you like have to press a button to keep blinking.
Yeah, to clear your vision.
Like,
I remember that.
Why? Like, what is stupid? Like, why?
I don't know.
Imagine if in every first person I just thought of like how fucking annoying it would be to be in any first person shooter you just have to click a fucking button like every 10 seconds to blink or else your fucking vision gets blurred.
I mean, I can understand how it could be used, but not like that. Because you blink at the start to de-blur your vision, and then you can blink for the rest of the game, but it doesn't actually have a purpose.
The audience is now manually blinking.
Oh my god.
No. You know what's worse than manually blinking? That's manually breathing.
That's not a guilty pleasure at all.
Fuck yeah, you have to do that. You'll fucking die.
No, manually breathe.
Manually breathing while hearing you saying that is is the opposite of a fucking guilty pleasure, my guy.
Don't worry, guys. Just wait until you can figure out you can manually beat your own heart.
Well,
I'm
yeah.
not even gonna try. Like I could.
Jesus Christ. How did we get here? That Alone in the Dark reboot always struck me as quite hilarious, considering like the old games were on PC and they were just like these silly little games where you played as like a little polygon man and like beat up like shitty looking creatures with like a garden hoe or some shit. You know, the term horror was used very loosely with those games. Like,
Yeah.
that shit is not scary. I'm not entirely sure why somebody saw like guy running around mansion hitting rats with a garden hoe and thought gritty dark reboot
Yeah,
where
but
you have to
guys-
blink your fucking eyes manually.
I mean,
You gotta think
to
of it
be
this
fair,
way.
man.
Wasn't it like the first survival horror game?
I don't know.
I think technically, Alone in the Dark, if I remember correctly, it was like one of the pioneers.
Okay.
It walked, so Resi could run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, the thing is, around the time that came out, that would have been what, 2007, 2008.
Yeah.
A lot of things, both in movies and games and stuff, were getting really gritty reboots. Like that's when this whole
Yeah,
Okay.
that was the era of gritty, gray, dull reboot.
So it's a product of its time. That kind of.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
What I
Well-
will say, by the way, is if anyone ever decides to play that game, don't play it on 360. Play the Inferno version on PS3 where they actually fixed all the problems, like when you're driving and your car just clips through the fucking floor and you get
Yeah, I was gonna say, I believe the only footage I've ever seen in that game is someone driving through the ground.
Yeah, it's not good.
That's like the
PS3
first
version is
mission
like a
too, right?
Playable version of the game. Oh yeah, that's another thing about the game. Yeah, it's part of the first chapter or episode. Yeah, that game, it was one of the first ones I remembered where it was structured like a TV show. So each sort of mission was like 30 or 40-ish minutes long or so. And they were all kind of like their own self-contained stories that were part of like the larger thing.
Mhm.
It was meant for like smaller bite-sized gameplay for people who don't have like 4 hours to sit down and play. interesting. It didn't necessarily do any favors for that game, but but
Yeah,
they
I
did it.
think survival horror, and I don't, I don't exactly think bite-sized chunks of gameplay to digest. I'd
Yeah.
like to think I'd want to immerse myself, but I mean, that's far from the only fucking problem that game has. So,
Yeah.
whatever.
It's got some funny dialogue going for it, though. Have you guys
Oh,
seen the one clip about the stone?
no, I have
Oh,
not.
for fuck's sake! There's like this fucking demon bitch, okay, and she's yelling at your guy. She's like trying to like, I think she's got like her hand on you, and she's like saying that she wants the stone, and the dude is straight up. The dialogue's just like, "I don't have your stone, but fuck you anyway," and then he just fucking like kills her or some shit. Like it's fucking dumbest line.
Triple A dialogue.
Dude, it was
Fuck
amazing.
you anyway. Dead.
That's one of the things that people remember most about the game. It was so hilarious.
So, the game I'd like to bring up, I don't think. Actually, a lot of people think it's a bad game. It's Pokemon Coliseum. It's a very divisive game.
Never played it, I don't think.
Well, you definitely didn't. Rin, Sliv, have either of you played Paco?
I wouldn't really say it's got a reputation for being a bad game. I've heard the reputation of it being brutal, and I agree with that. It can be brutal, but not necessarily bad.
What system was it on?
GameCube.
So it's on GameCube.
Oh yeah, okay, I never had that.
It's it's got a lot of things that are very strange for a Pokemon game. Like the way you capture your Pokemon is by stealing them from other trainers. Sounds really cool in concept until you realize that there's like 48 Pokemon total that you can get, and it's incredibly selective. But it's a weird game because I always find myself at the midway point saying, fuck, these fights go on forever, and they do. Like some animations can go off for like 10 seconds, and like each fucking trainer you find, every single battle takes forever, and you can't turn off animations. And it's all double battles, so there's just like always animations going off. And it just sort of becomes a slog at points. And then there's the difficulty curve, which is something that a younger me really hated, but an older me has really come to appreciate now that every fucking Pokemon game turns out to be baby's first Pokemon game. It's got its faults, but if you're like an older Pokemon fan who's actually looking for a challenge, everyone says that the professor at the end of Sun and Moon is fucking insane because he's got Stealth Rock. Like, that's like the big oh shit moment. He used fucking Stealth Rock at the beginning of the match. You haven't seen shit until you use a Slowking, the enemy's Slowking, you skill swap on a goddamn Slacking, and proceed to wipe your entire fucking team. That shit is insane. I don't think I've died to a single boss more than I've definitely gotten the most faints in that game compared to any other Pokemon game. And the amount you can actually grind is very limited. Grinding in that game, while usually you'll have to like the amount of trainers you find is like finite and there's no wild Pokemon. But if you actually do need to grind for like a boss battle per se, and there's no trainers to grind, you have to like go out of your way and like find specific trainers. It's got its issues, but in terms of difficulty, it's really cool. And it does have it has some meme fights, like the first asshole boss uses like 5 fucking Ludicolo and a Sudowoodo, and like his whole thing is that he just makes it rain and the Ludicolos get health every turn. But they're actually kind of smart about how they use their attacks, and the fact that every battle is a double battle is actually used quite well, like in the Slowking Slacking thing I said before. And there's a couple other boss battles that use weather interestingly. It's a shame that we've never gotten a Pokemon game like that. The more we talk about Pokemon and the type of co-op Pokemon game, we'd like to see on the show, the more sad I get, considering that like this game from a long time ago, like what, fucking 15 years ago? No, more than that, probably 18. Made an incredible double battle only Pokemon game. I don't know. I've seen a lot of hate towards those games online because again, battles do take forever, but I think it's rad. A good game is good. Hot take from Kaznarius.
Yeah.
2021. TM that shit. Trademark it. Put it on a shirt. Sliv, how about you, bro?
Well, you see here, sometimes things are good, some things are bad, and some things people just, you know what, no, society just says, no, you're not allowed to like that, because you're a boy. No, I'm like, nah, fuck you, I still like it anyway. And what I'm talking about right now is the famous shoujo anime card captors. That shit was rad.
I liked it. I did like it. Huge fan.
It's also one of the most popular anime of all time, though.
Ah,
Yeah,
yes.
it
Very
is.
underrated as well.
And top 10 underrated animes of 2017.
I do understand your thought process though, Sliv, because I did find my parents growing up would kind of dissuade me from watching stuff like that.
It's like, ew, Kaz, you're watching Totally Spies? You should be watching
Yeah.
Martin Mystery.
I feel like that is an interesting opinion and thing to talk about somewhere else, but yeah, tell us about this card captor. Did you? Sorry, was it a game you said, or was it just the show?
Oh, it's just a show, like,
Okay,
who said
yeah.
we couldn't talk about that? It's a guilty pleasure, isn't it?
I legitimately don't think it qualifies because you make a good point. It might actually be a topic for another podcast, but it is legitimately one of the most popular anime ever made.
That's okay. That's okay. We'll just move. You know, we can just move on to the next thing, unless you absolutely want to talk about how much you love card captors.
No, it's okay.
All right.
I do
Um,
have something that Sliv might be able to chime in on. I legitimately believe that sometimes a guilty pleasure becomes a guilty pleasure because of the experiences you have playing it. And I think Sliv might have some fond memories, or maybe not so fond memories, of playing Spy vs. Spy on a friend's Xbox.
Now, you see here, I've completely forgotten everything about Spy vs. Spy.
Okay, well, I can walk you through it and
It's
see if you
truly
jog your memory.
unfortunate.
So the whole thing is that you have like a deathmatch sort of multiplayer where you're trying to achieve objectives. One team might be trying to do something while the other team tries to stop them from doing it by setting traps or things like that. It is very easy to lock someone in the spawn room. It is incredibly easy and hilarious to lock someone in the spawn room and just mess around with people. And I just have a lot of very fond memories. And they are a little bit foggy now. It's been a long time, but that was absolutely a guilty pleasure, and I still think that game is was a lot of fun for us. Just having these stupid scenarios play out.
Speaking of guilty pleasures at Gumby's house, fucking rhythm games. I still dig rhythm games, man. I don't care if they've fallen out of popularity. Give me Guitar Hero 3 any day and I'll fucking play her.
That's a good point. I think rhythm games are about to hit a stride, but for a while they had kind of fallen off a bit. Muse Dash got a little bit of traction, but people kind of looked down on that one because the art style. And if you think after Guitar Hero and Rock Band fell off the wagon real hard and just everyone gave up on those games.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you figure it's just because of a giant oversaturation between those two?
They're
there's just...
releasing a game every year at least, sometimes two.
Oh man, it was getting to the
Yeah.
point, like I think towards the end where we had like 3 or 4 games a year.
Yeah, Guitar Hero was at a point where they were releasing a new game every 5 or 6 months.
Yeah,
Absolutely
They
insane.
had like fucking Van Halen and I think Metallica in like the same year. And Van
Yeah.
Halen was literally a reskin of the Metallica version. Like,
Yeah.
the fuck?
Yeah, I think it's a cool situation where these games went from being massively popular to becoming sort of a guilty pleasure where, like, what the hell, you're playing Guitar Hero
Yeah, I will
and
say,
playing
as
other rhythm games or stuff like that. DDR's always been popular, but the Guitar Hero stuff or similar games, and then outside of that, falling off and DDR sticking around, you have stuff that's starting to pop up now.
I will say, on a long enough timeline, I do get urges to fucking play Guitar Hero and Rock Band, like just for
Yeah.
shits and gigs. Like to a point, I actually do miss it now and then I just go to my local Dave and Buster's and go to the Guitar Hero machine and just kind of fucking sate that urge. But
And then disease that must not be named happened, and then...
yeah. So now I just really want to play Guitar Hero as well. No, even my girlfriend right now, she just recently ordered like a fucking taiko drum.
Wait,
yeah,
like for that drumming game on Switch?
yeah,
Nice.
taiko drum master or whatever the fuck. So, everyone's getting rid of their plastic instruments, but I think if I do feel like there will come a day when you're gonna be like, man, I'm at a party with a bunch of dudes and we don't know what to do. How about Fuck It Rock Band? And you're
Yeah.
gonna be like, yeah. How about those days when Fuck It Rock Band?
That would be real. I'd really like to do that again.
You know what? Yeah, and yeah.
I think we're on the cusp of it because we're going to be coming into a time period where multiplayer rhythm games, like, people are going to be meeting up again, and it's going to be like,
Yeah.
man, that'll be something to do. I think on top of it, you have these resurgences of smaller stuff too. Like, I remember there was a Kickstarter that tried to get off the ground for a spiritual successor to Parappa the Rapper. That sadly didn't take off, and
remember that,
then
yeah.
we have Friday Night Funkin' now, which definitely
Yep.
is not a guilty pleasure. It's Give Rin Carpal Tunnel Syndrome Simulator.
I
The-
backed it just for
Yeah.
full transparency. Just 'cause.
Yeah, if I was in a better position, I absolutely would too. Yeah, I absolutely think that game is kind of helping shift that out too. There's a lot of things falling in places for rhythm games to start moving away from being a guilty pleasure and just being a pleasure again, and that's really cool to me.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, the thing about stuff like Guitar Hero and Rock Band, they didn't sort of fade away because people didn't enjoy them, right? The problem was that there were too many games coming out too quickly with little to no actual innovation. And
Yeah.
also the soundtracks were, they just had a bunch of filler, shitty music because they were cheap to license. People enjoyed the actual act of playing those kind of games. So I think they could come back.
Dude, I remember when like Guitar Hero 5 came out. It legitimately was like Smash trailer reveals. I was so excited that Johnny Cash got into Guitar Hero 5. Like, I lost my mind.
What was it?
It
Was
was
it Ring of Fire? I forget.
Yeah, Ring of Fire.
Of course it was.
And I was so excited that, old school country music like that generally doesn't get represented in a game like Guitar Hero.
Sure. Yeah.
And seeing that was just kind of wild to me. I'm big into that kind of outlaw country music, and seeing representation in Guitar Hero, like, wow. It was legitimately like seeing a Smash character from a series I didn't expect. That I happen to really like,
Now,
I was actually really sad that Guitar Hero Live failed because the idea was cool. Like all those songs, you have like thousands of songs in the cloud, and the backdrop is just a music video, and you literally just play whatever you want. But no one bought it. And I think that one you could also play. Wasn't it with a real guitar?
I believe so.
I believe Rocksmith was the one with the real guitar.
No,
yeah, we also had Rocksmith. I think that was a different thing, though.
it was.
And it totally fell on its face, if I remember correctly. It did not do too well.
Oh no, yeah, Guitar
Yeah.
Hero Live was not a real guitar. Okay, no, it just the fretboard looked pretty real.
However, Rock Band 4 had like a what was it,
Yeah.
32 key keyboard, and that's just crazy how they moved from like
That's
8
basically
by
just
button
playing
guitar
keyboard.
to just playing keyboard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Although Guitar Hero, looking at the guitar, they did actually have 6 buttons, but they were in like the first 3 frets. So you could do like more complex movements in like a smaller. I guess it'd be kind of easier to do that.
Yeah.
Fun
Yeah,
little-
but I wanted it to do so well.
a fun little peek behind the ThunderClub curtains, if it were. Sliv's first microphone that he used to record videos, like this was way before this channel started. It was a Rock Band microphone.
It was a Rock Band microphone. And you know what I was doing with that microphone? I was strangling myself with the cord. Because I didn't have a mic stand and I didn't want to hold it because I was playing video games. So I just had to hang the mic around my fucking neck like an idiot.
Now,
the things we did to get things done.
if you want to talk about a guilty pleasure rhythm game, this motherfucker right here bought Guitar Hero on tour.
Oh no.
And I played the shit out of that game. I played the shit out of that game so badly that I like took out the default decal, printed out my own decal, and threw it in the little thing. I actually still have it somewhere. I'll make whoever's editing this video put a picture up right now. But man, that shit takes me back. Just using the shitty little guitar pick stylus on my sideways DS, everyone looking at me like I'm a fucking moron for listening to like music at like the shittiest quality out of my DS speakers. I had fun with that game though. I really did.
It was kind of neat what it was doing, but
Yeah.
wow. Neat proof of concept does not equal amazing experience with hindsight.
Yeah. You know, when I was a kid and I was playing that, a kid younger than me looked at that and I remember this very vividly. I was at a Costco and a kid younger than me looked at the thing and was like, only 4 frets? The shit's for babies, and like walked away. And like I was like midway through the game and enjoying the hell out of it. And I'm like, wow.
Decimated.
It's like that scene from fucking Back to the Future. What, you use your hands, but not you have to use your hands to shoot in this game? That's like a baby's toy.
If you can't play through the Fire and Flames on Expert at like age 10, then you're not playing Guitar Hero, right?
Yeah, you're a shitty casual. Stop playing Guitar Hero.
Oh man, there was one guy
using the controller.
I did too actually on
PS2 controller.
I had Guitar Hero 3 on PlayStation 2, and I could not for the life of me understand the guitar at first, and I just played with a controller. And then I got comfortable with using the guitar controller because you can obviously play better on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was like one kid at our school that was just a god, and I think he almost perfected through Fire and Flames at like
at a
school event.
Tournament.
Yeah, there was a school
Sick.
tournament for Guitar Hero because Guitar Hero was such a big deal, and this kid like nearly perfected through the Fire and Flames, and everyone lost their minds.
Let's get off rhythm games for a hot second.
Yeah,
Ren, tell us about a guilty pleasure of yours.
We're coming off talking about a genre of game that is kind of ended up becoming a guilty pleasure and is coming back out of that. I have a game that it probably started off as not being a guilty pleasure and has since over time evolved more and more into one. And that's Sonic Adventure. Sonic Adventure started off as being a technical showcase for the Dreamcast, showing off what the Dreamcast could do. It's a very innovative game. It was the first 3D Sonic game, and it does a lot of stuff really right. It's a little bit jank. It has its issues at points, but I feel like as time's gone on, the game hasn't changed, but the opinion on it has, and it's gone down, like way downhill, to the point where now a lot of people just rag on the game, and they say, oh, it's basically unplayable, it's garbage, you know. Oh, it's 3D Sonic, and 3D Sonic's always bad.
Yeah.
It has to be 2D Sonic to be good, and I absolutely disagree with that. I think the original adventure game is very good still, even if it has its issues at points. And it's gone from being this game that was a showcase for a console to being the people who like it, it's kind of a guilty pleasure.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily a bad game. It does have a lot of strange thing, and God, even as a kid, I remember finding a bunch of glitches, and you know, there's always the weirdness of the fucking way the characters' mouths move in cutscenes. Like,
I also think a big issue is that the things DX did to it. A lot of people mainly
Yeah.
played it as DX.
at that point, you do have a big issue.
Links in the cards. At this point, fuck. Sonic Adventure DX, as it is now, like if you buy the Steam release currently, it's a port of 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 a Dreamcast game. Or something like that. It's like multiple degrees removed from the original version. Each separate revision has added new problems, added new glitches, made the game a little bit worse to the point that people have gone out of their way to patch the game back to how it was on the Dreamcast, where it was a lot better off. Like, a lot of the lighting gets destroyed just in the transfer over. The models just aren't the same. Stuff like that.
I will agree with you though. There does seem to be this strange hive mindset of shitting on 3D Sonic lately.
Yeah, and there are good 3D Sonic games. You can say the
Yeah.
same thing about Adventure 2. Sonic Adventure 2 does have its problems as well.
Mm-hmm.
There are some levels that just aren't very fun to play through, but the game as a whole is not a bad game. Heroes, another good example. It's got its issues. It's not a bad game.
Yeah,
It's just the negative mindset hurts it so much.
I know one of the most common complaints that I see people have about 3D Sonic is that it doesn't have the speed of the 2D games. And I guess that's probably because of the fact that it's so hard to render environments and have them like streaming, to your console so quickly.
It's
I
hard to
think
find. It's hard to find a
even-
balance.
Even then, that's not necessarily true because when I said Sonic, when you said Sonic Adventure, I immediately thought of like parts in Sonic Adventure where I wasn't going that fast or I didn't feel really that fast. But at the same time, then my mind immediately thought of the fucking Orca chase. And you
Yeah.
feel like you're going fast in that. It's fun. It's weird and fun.
I think Sonic Adventure had a good balance of keeping a sense of speed, not as fast as the 2D games, just because you can't fucking control yourself at that speed. You have to kind of
Yeah.
have railroading or something in place, like the modern 3D Sonic. You need to have something in place if you're gonna go that fast, because otherwise you're just gonna fly off the stage like a dumbass.
Honestly,
Like,
this might be a hot take, and I don't know if I'm just maybe I was just shit at video games when I tried 2D Sonic for the first time, but I always found that my big problem with those games was it's like, okay, I'm Sonic, I'm gonna go fast, and I go really fast, and I immediately hit a wall of spikes, or hit an enemy, or hit whatever, and it's like, okay, so I don't want to go that. I want to go fast, but I don't want to go that fast. Or like, how fast am I supposed to be going? Like, should I be pacing myself? Should I like just kind of know the level off by heart? Should I be spin dashing all the time? It's like,
I think that was a big issue, especially with Sonic 1, where
yeah,
you kind of just, especially later levels, the game stops actually being fast. It just becomes a kind of weird, somewhat mean-spirited at times 2D platformer.
Huh. Later levels. Level 2, bro. Labyrinth Hill Zone.
Yeah, Labyrinth Hill Zone.
Labyrinth Hill Zone, level 2 in Sonic 1, not Marble Zone?
Yeah, level 2 in Sonic 1, whatever the fuck it is.
Labyrinth Hill Zone.
Yeah.
Labyrinth Zone's
lava
level
and-
3. One more for the road.
yeah, one more for the road.
That is where it goes downhill because you're underwater the whole time.
Yeah.
Level 2 is Marble Zone, and that's not too bad.
Yeah, but like you're still avoiding the lava pits, and you're waiting a lot in Marble Hill.
You are waiting a lot, and there is some weird level design. I remember one that gets brought up is there's those things, they come down and you kind of have to ride them up, and they have spikes on the bottom. And on the first one, when you come up to the top, there's a whole bunch of spikes that could kill you if you didn't know what you're doing. The second one doesn't have spikes. Normally, good game design would dictate it be the other way around. You have the spikes on the second one instead of the first, because the first is to teach you what you're doing, and the second is to put you into more danger.
There will be a time at some point when I do go back to classic Sonic and play through those games and see why everyone loves them, but I mean, yeah, growing up, I loved 3D Sonic. Like even Sonic Adventure, like I did feel like I was going fast, and that was pretty cool at points. Pork
So-
chopper.
Well, so just to finish up on Sonic, so the reason I was bringing up the speed is I'm actually interested to see, because these new consoles have SSDs and they're pushing PC gamers towards SSDs. I want to see like if we see like a really really fast 3D Sonic game, and if it's actually any good.
I mean, we've already had the boost games, which is where Sonic's just ridiculously fast. But it's definitely a lot more railroaded than the adventure games, where you're kind of...
Yeah.
It kind of goes from being an adventure game to kind of like being on a roller coaster where you dictate which direction you go and how much whiplash you take.
Would you say
Yeah.
that Sonic Generations is a boost game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything after Unleashed would be a boost game.
Yeah, I think when you're moving that fast, you really have to change how you design the game, and there has
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
we'll
Don't
see
get me
what
wrong,
they,
there's nothing inherently wrong with being a boost Sonic game. There are good Sonic games that are using the boost formula as like how they design the game. I just think that there's still something lost in there. I would rather go slightly slower and have more freedom than
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
being on a roller coaster track, basically.
Well, as long as the next Sonic game isn't Sonic Forces 2, I'll be okay. God, you could beat that game in 2 hours on day 1.
I mean,
Definitely,
you could, but why would you?
definitely not a guilty pleasure. It's a guilt.
A guilt. Yeah, that's...
A guilt pain.
A guilt. Why would you do this to yourself?
Yeah.
I paid $10 and it was $12 too many.
All right, pork chopper. Guilty pleasure. Let's go. All in. Money.
There's a couple different ways.
Guilty pleasure. Money match. Pichu duos.
All right.
Final Destination.
It's the money.
So I know I've talked shit about this game in the past, and I know everybody the people who remember this game talk shit, but 50 Cent Blood on the Sand, as stupid as that game was, it was actually fun as fuck. Okay, it had some clunky controls, but going around this like Middle Eastern war zone, just fighting terrorists as 50 Cent and just fucking everybody up. There's something just inherently fun about that, as stupid as it is.
You just wish they'd bring back the swear button.
Yeah, man, it worked in that game. It worked in Scarface. The world is yours. It's a cool idea. Like, I just want a dedicated button where I can just tell everybody to go fuck themselves. Like, just let me be me.
I have a dedicated finger for that.
Oh yeah, I got that
I have
too.
2 of them.
It's a lot better when I can just say it. But no, man, I don't know. It's stupid. Like, yeah, you're 50 Cent. You played a concert. They stole your crystal skull, so you're gonna go destroy everything. And I don't know. It's stupid fun. I thought it was hilarious.
Can't have shit in Detroit.
As clunky as the controls could be, the combat was still pretty competent for the time. Like, it was kind of like a Diet Gears of War, but like in a good way.
Wasn't it like an Xbox Classic or some shit?
No, it was on 360 and PS3, I think.
I know, but they re-released the game with like one of those Xbox bestseller cases, I believe.
They might have. Let me see.
The platinum hits.
Yeah,
There
platinum
is so much garbage that ended up platinum hits though. One big example is Sonic 06 was a platinum hit.
Oh my god.
Yeah, platinum
Yeah,
hit doesn't mean anything.
Well, listen,
Fair.
it does in this case. Okay.
At
Clearly,
the very
it was
least,
good.
nobody is here defending Sonic 06. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean Sonic Adventure 3?
You eat
Oh my god.
well, so that way you can develop a better brain to not talk about those opinions like that.
This isn't a hot take, Sliv. This is just a bad take. This is the take that gets you shot. Why would you
By
say
me.
something like that?
I'm outside your window right now.
Blam. He's dead. He's dead. He's dead. All right, the game I'd like to talk about is Dragon Ball Z Boo's Fury, Game Boy Advance. Anyone ever
never heard of it.
ever heard of it?
Yeah, pretty neat
Sliv,
games.
Ren.
There are a few of them, and they're pretty neat.
I mean, to be honest, I just assumed that the Dragon Ball Z games were shit, so I never paid attention to any
That's
of them.
fair. There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Dragon Ball Z Boo's Fury is technically the third Legacy of Goku game. I bought it in a duo pack with, well, a game we covered before. Dragon Ball GT Transformation? Yeah, Transformation.
Yeah.
Boo's Fury is shockingly good, I'd say. When I was a kid, I didn't have like the DVDs for like the Boo saga. I could just like my only way of keeping up with the show was, watching weekly whenever it was on. And that was sporadic enough to the point where like, great, we just decided to go to fucking grandma's fucking house this week, and whoops, I fucking missed Goku going Super Saiyan 3. God damn it. But luckily for me, this game covers all the events of the Boo saga, and it's actually kind of epic. It's really good. I think it's pretty underrated. I mean, the combat is pretty standard in terms of like you got your punches and you just got your special techniques. And it's like a top-down weird fighting game where you level up and you can allocate stats. But the sprite work is decent. It when you kind of like keep leveling up a character, you feel really powerful. Big number, get even bigger. It's really cool to just like be Goku and like go Super Saiyan 3 at any point in the game. There's this game actually has amazing music. I know part of it's just taken from the show, or it's like a digitized version of the show. But like one of or not digitized, but it's like mixed down to be good for Game Boy Advances. But one of the tracks, something Forest, Fusoya Forest or some shit. I don't know if it's from the show, like the actual track. It's a solid track. Like it's one of the most audibly nice video game track, like audibly pleasing video game tracks I've ever fucking heard. To the point where like I've used it in multiple videos. I've used it in the end of our 2020 Game Awards video, and I've used it in the Darkroom video from this game that's apparently a fucking 62% from the general populace. I have gone back to play it periodically throughout years just because it's a fun little game to play. And yeah, you might get your ass beat a little bit, but it can be a pretty damn fun experience if you're a fan of Dragon Ball Z shit. And I wasn't the biggest fan of Dragon Ball Z shit, but I thought it was pretty cool. You'll probably hear tracks from it again at some point in the future. So, yeah, that cartridge with that game and Dragon Ball GT Transformation was just like the fucking goat for long-ass car rides, because I'd only bring one game and that'd be it. And I just switch between the two and play both of them all the time. Yeah, just a really underrated Dragon Ball game. I think everyone just kind of hates it because Legacy of Goku 1 and 2 are pretty dog shit as far as I remember. 1 for sure. 2 was a little bit better, but I know it was pretty bad. But Boo's Fury was, yeah, that's the shit. I really, really like that goddamn game. Underrated. I will not apologize for my tone tonight. Should you go play it? Maybe if you're a Dragon Ball fan. Maybe. Actually, no. You should. You should. If you're a Dragon Ball fan. Continue, Ren.
There are actually quite a few really good Dragon Ball games.
I can imagine. There's enough of them. There should be like a handful that are good. We're probably nearing the 70s or 80s at this point, right?
Yeah. But considering we're kind of veering onto the topic of anime games, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about Naruto Clash of Ninja 2.
Fire style jutsu.
It is a shame that the unnamed guest was not here to spill his heart out. about this shitty fucking game.
It is the most unbalanced, broken, messy, janky,
It's not
stupid
good.
3D fighter
It's not good. It's just
I've
not good.
ever played, but
It's
I
not good.
love it. There is a lot of charm it has in spite of all of that. I still believe I have gotten more than my fair share of entertainment from it. We regularly would ban Akamaru because Akamaru is just a small dog, and its hitbox, you couldn't hit it with most attacks, meaning that it was pretty OP.
You piece of shit.
It was just a dog.
That thing wasn't just a dog.
I know.
It was
But,
a
like,
big
it was
bad
just-
dog. The
it was
bounty
just a-
hunter.
A dog, the bounty. Well, it's gonna claim some bounties. I think Sliv was around for some Clash of Ninja 2 before.
Oh, Kakashi dug his way underground.
Yeah.
Man.
Infinite fire style jutsu loops.
But yeah, spamming fire style jutsu.
Before I knew any of you fuckers, that was the first game me and the unnamed guest ever played before we even became friends. There's not much else to say. Like, it's just a shitty Naruto fighting game. And it's kind of bad. Yeah. There's
it is-
charm to it.
It is
But it's
definitely a guilty pleasure.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Before we get off anime games, I do have one personal guilty pleasure. Another anime fighting game, Bleach: The Blade of Fate, for the DS. And I'll go a little bit into the mechanics. I mean, it's your basic ass 2D fighter, but the big problem with that game is that it suffers from a lot of the issues that games like Persona 5 or Persona 4 Arena have, which is the default is just you don't need to know how to play the game. If you just press one button, the game just does a sick combo for you. So you don't even really need to know how to play this fucking game. You can just hit auto combo and it'll just do it for you. So I like spent one afternoon just like turning off auto combo and like trying to learn all the shit, and just ended up getting my ass beat all the time by people online who would just use the fucking auto combos. So that was really not nice, but more importantly, there was a particular time I would use the main character of the series, Ichigo, because I'm a fucking disgusting, dirty, gross weeaboo, and I would enter like a 4-player match. Yeah, a 2D fighter with 4 players. Guess how that fucking went. And it would always be random players every time I would join a match. But one time, like every time I noticed in like 5 rounds, I would get matched with this person that would pick Shadow Ichigo, which is literally just a mirror of Ichigo, but like evil. It's stupid, whatever. And it was the same guy, and we'd know we were playing, and we couldn't see each other's names. I remember that. We couldn't see each other's names, but we'd know we're playing on the same team because whenever a match would start, we would both spam the down button and like dance on each other to like weirdly signify that yes, we somehow got matched with one another. And we then proceeded to like beat the shit out of everyone that night. And then like the last match, he ended up getting fucking paired with another person, and we both spammed down. And that was one of the most epic fucking like anime moments of my life. Having to beat my friend turned against me. I hope that Shadow Ichigo is doing well. That one moment in the shitty DS fighting game changed my life. Bleach: The Blade of Fate. It's not very good, but I like it.
Maybe that guy's out there. Maybe he's watching right now.
Wow.
That'd be wild.
Yeah.
Before we get out of talking about anime stuff, I would be a little bit remiss if I did not mention that I am a little bit of a fan of visual novels, and those definitely have a fairly less than positive view on them for the most part. They
Fair.
kind of get seen as cheap or budgety or weeb trash, but there are quite a few that do a very good job at spicing things up, making things more unique, having really strong characters.
What's the fucking game, Ren?
No, I'm just saying visual novels in general.
Oh,
Fuck
okay.
you.
I mean, I don't know. Like, there's, I feel like there's a couple, like, there's like a handful of visual novels that are like relatively accepted, like shit, like Danganronpa.
Yeah, Danganronpa's achieved a lot of popularity. But for the most part, if someone says, like, man, I was playing a visual novel, you think worse of them, kind of.
Yeah, for the most part, they get a bad rap. Although, I don't really... Like, for me, my only real issue with them is that the actual gameplay... Like, they're visual novels, but the gameplay portion, I feel like they could do a lot more within that space. But the stories are fucking great. Like, I loved Virtue's Last Reward. I played, was it Danganronpa, Trigger Happy Havoc? I thought that was awesome.
You really should play the rest of that series, Pork Chopper.
Yeah, I know.
It's fucking phenomenal. But yeah, I will say the only fucking visual novels I've played are good ones. So yeah, it is funny that they have that bad rep when Danganronpa is so popular and shit like 999 is so popular.
I think a lot of it comes from the fact that there are admittedly quite a few that come out that are just, you know, bare bones, going for just pure fan service and nothing more. You want to try that again?
No.
English, buddy. Do you speak it?
Anyway, this is where Sliv talks about his love for Galgun.
No. I haven't
Well, that
even
was a
played
quick discussion.
Galgun. But you know
Yeah,
what
like,
I
it's
have
kinda-
played? All those free-to-play meat and fuck visual novels on Newgrounds in like 2009.
And this is
Now
why visual
that
novels get a bad
It's
rap.
a guilty pleasure.
This is it.
Well,
There's
it's-
pleasure involved.
Yeah, I was about to say, there's one where you're halfway there. But there should definitely be guilt and shame afterwards.
Guilt,
Oh, yeah.
shame, and pleasure.
Yeah, I guess that's the other issue with visual novels is that's what a lot of people immediately think of.
Yeah, that's the association.
They don't think of, like, quite a few people don't think of Danganronpa or Virtue's Last Reward, or especially like it's something that's Japanese exclusive. Forget about it. No one's giving it the time of day. Like, I got really into a visual novel series, Galaxy Angel. I'm a huge fan of that series.
Right.
I could probably never get a single person here to play it. Unless, like, they take that as a huge, like, oh, you fucking think? Ah, I already played it. Eat shit.
Aha!
I've never even heard of it. Galaxy Angel?
Yeah, it is a really good, at least the first 3 games are a very good series of romance visual novels featuring space combat. And the space combat's really solid. I quite like it a lot. And the characters are all pretty awesome.
One day, Ren. One day you will eat those words. One day I'll tell you all I'm reviewing some shit like Mega Man 2, and then I'm gonna fucking put out
Just
Galaxy
drop
Angel
it on
review-
me.
My fucking Galaxy Angel review. Right under all your noses. Alright. Do we have any other guilty pleasures to bring up before we wrap this up?
Arby's. Arby's is a guilty pleasure.
That's
I
not
think
a
bad,
video
but
game,
so
but it
No,
is
it
a
is.
guilty pleasure.
I
It's
mean,
true.
it is if you're below the age of like fucking 90.
Okay, asshole. Listen, I don't know. Why does Arby's have the fucking rap it does?
Yeah, that's
I don't
good
get
food.
Those curly fries are quality.
God, like, give me a fucking beef and cheddar any day of the week. I'll eat them.
High key though. I love
Yo,
those goddamn things.
Arby's, you listening? Throw us a sponsorship.
And they're-
We'll sing the praise of your curly fries all day long.
Their social media shit is so on point. Referencing fucking anime and all this, making all these cool fucking anime cutouts.
Yeah, no.
Whoever the fuck is running that account is a genius. But that's irrelevant. I like the food. I don't know why everyone hates Arby's.
I
Right,
also
let's
think
Send me a
I
bottle
al-
of your horsey sauce. I need it.
I also
Ikea.
I also like that Arby's is like the one place that hasn't changed. Like you go to an Arby's and it feels like it did one like it hasn't changed since like we were kids.
Well, they
Yeah,
Yeah,
but, like-
because it's the same discourse
Yeah,
in fucking
it's-
1971.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's the
but, like,
same
I kind of
there,
like that.
too.
I hate like going into a Taco Bell and it looks like someone designed it for like a freaking college course on postmodern architecture.
Fucking right.
No, Taco Bell used to look like those little Dixie cups that you get at the dentist, and that's when Taco Bell is the greatest.
You know, or like the same thing with like McDonald's now. Like it's just all this kind of. I don't like modern design. I just love the coziness of a retro Arby's.
All right, I just there's one thing that I've never understood about Arby's, okay? Because let's all admit, no one really eats at Arby's, okay? Now here's my thing.
I won't admit.
Where the fuck did Arby's get $2.4 billion to buy Buffalo Wild Wings? Like, what? How did that happen?
From me, asshole, because I didn't there.
Seriously, when I saw that they were getting bought by what was it, fucking like Arby's restaurant group or some shit? Where did they get that kind of money? It's fucking Arby's.
Oh man, like maybe I don't know Arby's financial situation, but it would be kind
Never
of cool
really.
if they just keep the Arby's open as like a passion project and
Never
like they make their money elsewhere.
Underestimate the power of a boomer consumer, my friend.
But also,
Shit.
yeah, like honestly, when I go to Arby's, I make a freaking mission out of it.
Hikey.
Like I'm not going there to like watch my calories. I'm going to watch them go up.
Yeah, man, they got fucking 92-year-old Phyllis going there after every fucking bingo game on Friday, apparently spending a shitload of money.
Yeah, you
I
get
don't
like a
give
few.
a fuck about Phyllis. Give me that Arby's sauce. Give me the fucking meat on the bun.
Yo, I will say their curly fries with that cheese, dude, that shit is
You
good.
You can't
Yeah.
fucking argue with those curly fries. I'm
Yeah,
sorry. You
I'll
criticize
take
the
it.
sandwiches all you want. The curly fries, they're perfect. They
Yeah.
might be my favorite fries, period. Honest to God.
Like that's the one thing. Anytime I've gone to Arby's, it's just for the fries.
No guilt, only pleasure.
Yeah,
Exactly.
with those fries, yeah.
I think that is where we can wrap things up.
Ah, yes, our gaming podcast ends on a talk about Arby's.
As it should. Arby's
As it
please
should.
I
sponsor.
mean, considering their Twitter and all the gaming shit, I think that's pretty fitting.
Load me up with horsey sauce daddy.
Yes.
And that closes out our podcast on guilty pleasures. If you enjoyed what you just heard, or you enjoy Arby's, consider giving us a like or maybe subscribing. Every subscriber helps us out. You can also check us out on Twitter at THNDRCLUB. You can also check out our Twitch, which is at twitch.tv/ThunderClub. I've been Ren, and with me has been Sliv,
Good night, everyone.
the Pork Chopper,
See you later.
and Kaz.
You know, the best part about these things is that every time somebody goes on to one of my other shitty reviewing videos and thinks I make an insightful point, they can then go back to one of these and realize I'm a giant fucking idiot.
No arguments there.
Good night, everybody.